Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Rukhmah Ziamir, and I am the National Coordinator for YM Sisters.
My name is Abdullah Siddikki. I'm a member of the Young Muslims National Shura. You like that? That was a nice trick. Inshallah, we're going to have a short presentation about what Young Muslims is, what YM is, what we do as an organization. I'm not sure I can do a better job explaining it with a PowerPoint than Ramiz did so beautifully with his words. Ramiz is one of my mentors. I've seen him in YM for a long time. I've learned a lot from him, and his testimonial moved me, and I hope it will move some of you as well, inshallah. So I'm going to start by talking about kind of explaining YM to you as if it was a product. And I want you guys to have this mindset of, if I was to invest in a product, right, what returns would I be getting? And I'm not going to ask you for money. We have someone else that will do that later, inshallah. But I do want you guys to think in this mindset. Put yourself in the frame of mind is, if there was an organization out there, Young Muslims, I don't really know anything about it, why should I invest in it? What am I going to do? What is there to be gained out of giving any sort of investment to YM, whether it be money, whether it be some time, whether it be just stopping by our booth and having a conversation. So as we go through this presentation, as I tell you the story of YM, as I tell you, what the product is that we have, I want you to think kind of, what would I gain? What would I gain if I presented something, if I invested in something like this? So before we even get into why I should invest in Young Muslims, let's talk about what is Young Muslims. What is it? I'm sure you've seen it all over. You walked around, you've seen us on the stage. It says Young Muslims Conference. You saw the booth. Everyone has these nice Young Muslims shirts and windbreakers and merchandise. I'm sure you've seen it. So what is Young Muslims? At the very surface level, the best way I can explain it, we are a national grassroots youth organization. We have chapters, over 70 chapters across the country, in 9+ states, and we're growing. And that's just the very surface level. So now I'm gonna let Sister Rukhmah talk about kind of what the product of Young Muslims is. What are we building? What are we giving to the community?
All right, so what we refer to, as Brother Abdullah mentioned, we're a grass-level roots organization. And we have local chapters, which we refer to as our neighbor nets. And neighbor net is at the core of YM. These are the places that we meet at, typically on Fridays, on Saturdays, on Sundays. We have these weekly gatherings, right, where we are meeting because it's a safe space that is provided for individuals, right, for brothers and sisters. Given the struggles that is happening within, high school and, within colleges and even in the workforce, there are a lot of, they just need an environment where they're able to just have a safe space and be grounded in their Islamic knowledge, Islamic tradition, but also to be provided with good companionship. So the two things that at a neighbor net level, which is the very grassroots level that it provides, is one, ta'aleem, right? We have knowledge that it provides through the halaqah, and then it also provides suhbah, which is companionship. You're surrounded by like-minded brothers and then sisters respectively that are encouraging you, and like Brother Ramiz mentioned, they're uplifting you to become better Muslims and just better people in general, right? So, and in addition to our neighbor net, what makes our neighbor net and our weekly gatherings very unique is that we have our motto is that we usually start off with icebreakers, right, to engage the community, right, to engage the girls and the brothers respectively. And then we also have our halqa component, which is where that ta'aleem, right, to be able to give them that content, that spirituality, that iman booster. And then after that, we also have supplemented with activities. But in addition to that, we do a lot more, right? It's really, really fun where we have game nights and paint nights and sports tournaments, and it goes on and on and on. But the core element of the neighbor net is it provides that safe space. And why it's so important is because living in this environment, you really need something that helps you preserve your Muslim identity, right? We're in this conference where we're talking about we're strangers, right? In this community, we're strangers, so we need to be with other strangers like us to be able to continue, to be able to, carry out the banner of Islam, to be able to carry our identity as Muslims.
So beyond the NeighborNet, as Sister Rukhmah explained, we also have a lot of local level work. So our NeighborNets aren't just impacting the people that attend NeighborNet. You'll see that in a lot of the masajid and areas where we have YM, they are doing community and Islamic work outside of NeighborNet. They have their weekly meetings where they have fun, where they have companionship, where they become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But YM takes you beyond that. It takes you to local level work where we're having community events. For example, in the masjid that I'm a part of, even though I'm not involved in the local YM anymore, I see that they're running several events every single year that in the masjid, that they're inviting speakers, that they're hosting community cleanups, that they're going out, they're going and doing service, they're holding soup kitchens and food pantries. So YM work, it extends beyond the NeighborNet on a local level, that the direct impact that they're having on the tarbiyah and the service in the communities as well.
And then beyond that, we also have a lot of work that we do at a national level. And this specific conference, this YM conference, is a huge example of that, where our members, you'll see in the aisles, the volunteers, right? Everyone, you're probably sitting next to a YM member, right? So these projects are run and organized by our YM members, by our YM individuals. In addition to that, we also have our leadership conferences, which provide spiritual and professional development to our members, to all the people that are involved in the organization. On top of that, they're provided counseling. They're provided the resources and the tools they need. So they come to these conferences, they get those tools, they get those resources, so they can go back to their communities and make those communities better, right? Be able to bring forth the change that they want to be able to bring. In addition to that, we also have a lot of national campaigns that we do. We have, like, for example, we have done Feed Their Legacy, where we also have an element of community service, right? We meet at the masjid, we do halakas, we have all these, fun events, but we also want to give back to our community. So we also collab with different organizations and do national projects as well. So again, it's, we do NeighborNet work, we do local work, but we also do national work, so that it's something that, kind of helps you continue the work of the Islamic movement in all levels.
So I mentioned that I want you to think or be in the mindset of what would I get out of investing into young Muslims? Why should I invest into young Muslims? Well, let's talk about the return that our product offers. So we told you what the product is, right? We told you what Young Muslims is, as briefly as we could in these last few minutes. But this is the real important impact that YM is having on the communities that it comes to. So it starts with the progression of individual members. We have several individuals, like Ramiz mentioned, and I'm just going to rip off his story because it's the perfect example. He mentioned that there are so many youth out there that, we don't know what they're doing, or they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They come to a young Muslim's halaqah and they fall in love with Islam, right? That's the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He can make it so easy for people to follow down this path of Islam and to become closer to Him. And look what happens now. He's speaking in front of a conference, in front of hundreds of people. That's individual progression. I've seen people with no sort of direction or management skill come into YM, and they're running the conferences that you guys are sitting in right now. They're running the NeighborNets that they once kept saying that, oh, I don't have a ride, so I'm not gonna go. And that's the individual progression that's been happening.
And to add to that, I've personally, given the position, I have worked with so many YM sisters, and I have seen the growth, like where sisters have started off as volunteers, just coming at the NeighborNet level. That was once me, where I just came at a NeighborNet level, and then you're given this platform. you're provided those professional development skills. You're provided where you're able to just, be at the neighbornet, but then grow from that position to start leading conferences and to be able to start giving halakas. All of these skill sets, and those skill sets translate into your professional world as well, and after you graduate from YM, it extends to any of the community service that you do. So it's really amazing how we see individuals that not only start off in YM, that started just becoming members, and then we see them grow exponentially where they're leading these conferences, where they're becoming speakers, where they're doing national projects, that are affecting and really impacting the community. And then we see that they go beyond YM, and after they graduate, where our alumni are able to give back in those professional sectors and the nonprofit sectors. So it's amazing that the impact the organization has doesn't just stay within YM when you're 13 to 25, but it extends beyond to that, and it really helps you, it really shows the progression that the organization has on the individual.
Yeah, and from there, from the individual, we know that communities are built upon individuals. So what happens when a YM comes to a community? I want you to think of a community that has maybe one masjid, no other masajid. And that one masjid is run by elderly people, uncles who have been running it for a long time. There's no sense of future. There's no sense of the next generation. So what is the benefit that YM brings to the community? We install a neighbornet coordinator there. We teach them, we develop them, we bring them to our conferences, and we build their network. We teach them, how to be an Islamic worker, an Islamic leader. And what do? They pay it forward. They build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more Islamic workers. And what do you know? Next thing you know, that community, that big gap that was in the community of people who are age 25 that aren't in the masajid anymore, they're running the masajid now. And that's the benefit that we're bringing to these communities. We're establishing a culture of Islamic work. We're establishing a culture of dawah, inviting people to Islam and to become closer to their Lord. And finally, right, and what does that lead to? The biggest picture that I could give is that this helps lead to the sustenance of the Muslim Ummah. Having Islamic workers, having balanced-minded people who are working to establish Islam in our hearts, in the hearts of our children, in the hearts of us, of our peers, of our elders, that leads to the spiritual health of the Ummah. We need people out there who are doing this work. We need people who are going out, inviting people to Islam, bringing them closer to their Lord, because we know what happens in this country. We see it. It's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to lose our identity. And of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that guides, but we are His representatives on this earth, and we have to perform this work. We have to go out. We have to reach out to people and bring them closer to Islam. And that is the impact that YM has on its communities.
All right, so to continue, just to give you a current snapshot. So alhamdulillah, we have 9 established regions collectively with brothers and sisters. Of those regions, we have 320 members on average that come to these weekly halaqat across the country. You can see all the states that are in green are the states where we have local chapters, local YM neighbornets for both brothers and sisters. We have 7 NNs per region. Again, this is an average. And then with that, we have 25 community events that are being conducted and organized by these YM individuals on average. And with that, there are 51 Islamic workers that are doing the work not only within the organization, but then also outside the organization. So as we mentioned, they're collaborating with other organizations, with their masajids, with other communities, so they can extend to the greater community.
So that's just an example of what the impact YM has by the numbers on a single region. Obviously, qualitatively, it's really hard to explain and show that impact. So that's the current snapshot of what YM looks like. These 9 regions, some of them have brothers and not sisters, and some of them have sisters and not brothers. But I want to show you where we are planning on growing to, where YM is planning on going to. So each one of these blue highlighted regions on this map are targeted expansion regions. There are places where we are talking to youth who are interested, that are motivated and want to do this work. But we need to have the means to be able to bring them out to our leadership development. We need to be able to bring them to our conferences, to get them walking down on the right path to establish Islam in the hearts of the people of their communities. And we showed you the snapshot of what the impact of one single region is, right? So let's move on and talk a little bit about kind of the cost of each region. So the cost per region that we are currently operating across brothers and sisters is almost $40,000. So for example, when we have a new expansion region that we want to go to, we have to invest money into several trips to go out there. We talked about suhbah, we talked about companionship, we talked about, you know, the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to develop the people around him. We like to be on the ground, we like to be boots on the ground, talking to people there, checking up on them, making sure that they're doing well, establishing a real true connection that will lead them, you know, on this path of Islamic work. So expansion, we have expansion costs. The development, our youth conferences, we have leadership conferences for young Muslims, we have professional and spiritual retreats to try and bring them closer, to absorb them into the companionship and to give them the skills that they need to carry this tradition of Islamic work for years beyond the time they graduate from YM. And finally, we also invest money into these events that they're having in their local communities. We give them the funds, and we try to give them the agency to help people, to establish that connection to the community, to help keep bringing people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And so inshallah, if you're interested, you can contact to learn more about YM. If you're interested to learn more how you can help the organization, how you can invest in the organization, inshallah, you can also contact us at our contact@ymsisters.com, contact@youngmuslims.com. You can also visit our booth 407 and 410. However, with that, inshallah, I also want to mention that we do have our donate page where you can donate to youngmuslims.com. So, what we wanted to emphasize is that Young Muslims is a grass-level roots organization. And if there's 4 things you can leave that YM really provides, it's ta'aleem, it provides knowledge, it provides suhbah, companionship, it provides khidmah, right, service to the community, and it also provides tarbiyah, right, development, spiritual development, professional development. And so it's an organization that really, why you should invest in this organization, right, is because you're investing in people, right? There are not other organizations that invest in people, right? But we need to be those people that are at the forefront, that people will be at the forefront of those that invest in developing our leaders, because these are the people that are going to be leading the future generations. These are the people that are going to be at the forefront of all the different communities and things that will be coming. So these are the future leaders, inshallah. So with that, we want to move on to our next session, Jazakallah khair, and inshallah, Brother Azim will be continuing the fundraising portion.